What the F is up, y'all? Welcome back to the What the F podcast. I'm the host, Austin Martin, and today we are on episode 10 talking about the importance of friendships, being there through tough times that your friends are going through, or having friends that are there when you're going through tough times. I'm gonna bring some real life examples of why it is so important to be there for your friends, how big of an impact they have on our life. They could, elevate you, which I hope they are all doing in your lives, or they could really hinder your growth. Realize which friends are adding value to your life, and remember to bring value to those friendships that you hold personal to yourself, and really support your friends when they're going through tough times, because they may not make it known, but it has a great impact. It's just important to be there for each other. Like I mentioned, friendships have a significant impact. They reflect what we do in our lives. If we hang out with people who are growth-minded, physically active, we're gonna take on those abilities ourselves and those characteristics, and we're gonna constantly be willing to grow and try new things. So it's very important to surround yourself with growth-minded people and people that help elevate you. They could be there in times of emotional support, companionships when anybody's going through a tough time. They enhance the well-being of an individual. So for example, I had a really good friend that was in an 8-year relationship. He got out of that 8-year relationship. I was there as a friend. I pushed him. I was like, dude, there's so much more to life than, being cooped up in the room. You're such a great guy. You have the ability to turn your life around and find what it is that you're looking for. That's out there for you. You just got to look inward and work on yourself first and foremost. He had moved down to LA. We got him working out. We got him outside, getting the vitamin D, all the things natural, like to get out of your comfort zone. Through that tough time, he did feel alone at parts. The fact that he showed up for himself every day and he was resilient, now he's in a great and healthy relationship. It's almost been a year. He's having a kid, a daughter on the way. I can't wait to be an uncle. And he is now in the best place I've seen him in years. And he's just happy and healthy. And I hope that we could all push towards that eventually. He credits it to this day, saying, I would not be in the position I am now if it wasn't for you. I owe so much to you. But really, he owes it to himself, because he pushed through when times were difficult, and when he thought there was no way out, he knew it was possible. I always saw potential in him as, a human being, and I see that in all my friends, and I always want to uplift them, elevate, hence what the F, elevate yourself, focus on the 5 Fs. It's just an example of the importance and the impact of a friendship that it could have. Me being there emotionally as a support system and leading by example, he was able to, find a healthy relationship and elevate his life. You don't always have to give advice. Sometimes you just need to be there to listen and to be an outlet that your friend needs to vent to. Whether it's just checking up on your friends and saying, hey, I'm here whenever you need me. I'm always here to listen. A sense of security that your friend has. Maybe they feel like they have no outlet or no one wants to hear their problems. How can friends elevate our energy and our mindset? Every day, our friends are affecting how we live our lives. Friends have a direct impact on our lives. They could uplift you, and it's important to surround yourself with friends that elevate your frequency and that speak highly of you. Nobody wants a best friend that envies you and looks down upon you because you may be doing something that they haven't done yet, or you're achieving your goals quicker than theirs. So it's important to be surrounded by friends that support you and want you to do good. If I'm motivating and inspiring somebody else, I have a frequency that wants to elevate others. It's just all about wanting more and growing as an individual, influencing your friends to do better and to achieve more, and giving them constructive criticism along the way. Practical tips for cultivating strong friendships: see how those people talk about others when they're not in the room. I think that's a really good sign of what makes a person a good friend and trustworthy or not. Like, how are they speaking about somebody else when that person isn't around? So I think it's important to take note of how is somebody speaking about another person, and that could give you a good sign is, when you're not around, are they talking about you? And you ideally want to surround yourself with people who are speaking highly of others and constantly wanting others to succeed, because there's enough success for everyone. And also show up for people when they least expect it, or when you expect nothing in return. Through this podcast, I had another friend that I went to high school with, and I was talking about not drinking, how there's so many other improvements in my life since I've stopped drinking. I did a podcast episode, and when he saw that podcast episode, he was like, man, thanks so much for sharing that advice. Any other tips that you have, I'd greatly appreciate. I had followed up and said, yo, like, let's talk about it. I'm always here. Nothing came of it. And then when I went home for Easter, I had dinner with another friend, and he had talked about, he was like in a dark place mentally. And, sometimes you don't really understand what somebody's going through. Yeah, I followed up and was like, hey, I'm here for whatever you need. Would love to give you more advice, but it's my duty as a friend to go that next step and like really make that thought of hopping on a call or like reconnecting, like turning that into action, because you never know what that friend may be going through. So it's important to follow up before it's too late, or before, they backslide or go into a darker place. I also lost a really good friend of mine and a music producer I would consider close with, and I really looked up to. His name was Jevin. He was from London. He was a Brazilian, so he made phenomenal music. He was one of the most talented people that I have ever seen make music in person. The first time I met Jevin was in Hollywood at my recording studio on Lexington, and a lot of people came through that place. It was Jevin, Kidda, Max, Dan, it was Diggy Simmons. They made a song called Lingo, and I was just hyped that it was recorded at my studio. Jev was such a special spirit, had such an impact on me that I let him stay in the studio days on end and didn't charge him anything. And I was just so grateful to have his energy there. And I kept telling him that. And then when I moved to London for a couple months, he was always messaging me, wanting to put me in contact with other musicians and producers, having me come to the studio during his album recording and, having my input there. And I didn't really know, what Jevin was going through. I was on the ride home for Easter, and I just found out that he had passed, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was just in tears. Somebody that you think has it all figured out and is so talented, and then really he just felt like he wasn't getting the recognition that he deserved ultimately. And it just sucks, because you never know what somebody's going through deep down. And I wish I would have paid attention to his music and like heard what he was talking about, because he was so preachful and, very speaking on the gospel and talking about like climbing over heaven's gates. And I just wish I was there for him more as a friend. He had huge plans in the music industry. His music will live on. I'm still bumping Jevin, more so now. I have a tattoo of his artwork on my arm, and he stays very close to me as a friend. I pray for his family, everyone around him that cherished him, and anyone he had an impact on. I know his impact on me was very big. So I just want to say in regards to that, like the importance of being there as a friend. I look back on my DMs with him and was just saying, brother, anything you need at all, I got you. And whenever I'm in London, I got you on what I can in terms of like services, videos, like anything, I got you, brother. Like, I love you. Like, you're a great person. And I felt his energy. I felt his spirit. Being there for your friends is very important, especially through tough times. And I just wish he would have like reached out to one of us, talked to him about how great he is and how much of a future like he has. Like his peak wasn't even reached, but you just gotta stay down and realize, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And relaying off that, I have an artist that I work with. She's really good at rapping, and she has a really good voice, and she's just an authentic person. And I've always shown her love. When she first came to the studio, she was recommended by a good friend of mine, High Life Flow, that I grew up with. I haven't heard from her recently, and she's usually very like communicative and I'm just like, yo, it's not like you not tapping in with me every Friday. We usually have these sessions, and not that I need like, oh, I'm just hitting you up because I want you to come through and have a session and to make that money. I hit her up like, yo, aside from the music, like I'm not even like trying to get you in for a session. Like, how is everything? I feel like you're not acting really normal. This was after Jevin, passed away. She's just like, yeah, to keep it real, like I'm 31, 32, I'm going through depression, I'm not where I want to be at life, and I just feel like I'm just stuck. I was able to reach out to her, and I'm like, the great part about not being where you're at right now is the journey to get to where you want to be. And like, we have all our life to work towards something great. No one says that by this age you have to accomplish this amount of success. The greatness is continuing and going through all that trials and tribulations and all the hardships, because when you do look back and you reach that successful point, you're gonna be like, man, I was really down and I counted myself out. Just stay positive. There's so many things you could be grateful for. You have a dog that loves you, you're under a roof, you have income to do things you need to do. There's people that do support you. Don't worry about the people who don't support you with the music. Focus on the fans that you do have and that do show you recognition and praise you. So you got to give people flowers while they're still here, and like look out for your friends. And I just hope that she takes the opportunity to show gratitude for the things that she does have rather than the things that she wish she does, that she wants to be doing. Overall, it's very important to be there for your friends, your family as well. So friends are supposed to elevate you. Friends are supposed to be there to help lift your frequency. They're there when you're going through a tough time as an outlet. They should be there to lift up your physical fitness goals, your career goals. They should have a good impact on you at your relationship at home. Friendships are some of the most valuable relationships that we have in this life. I know friends that will stick with me for the rest of my life, and I don't know where I'd be without them. Keep elevating yourself, keep elevating your frequency, value your friendships, look at your inner circle, tap in with them, tell them you love them, be there in support during the tough times and the good times. What the F? Like, let's focus on the 5 Fs: fitness, frequency, family, friends, and finances. This is your host, Austin Martin, and I appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode. We're on number 10, so let's keep it pushing. We're in double digits now. Time to get to triple digits. So appreciate you tapping in. Stay tuned.